one and all. Welcome to another session of Sisters in Conversation. Welcome. Today we have Sister Shanice with us. We have Sister Nataki.
Hi everyone.
Myself, Sister Mattis. We have Sister Desmond here and Sister Kia. So we have two sisters new to the conversation. So, and today, we want to talk about another intriguing topic. This time, we want to talk about single and save. What does that entail, and how do you deal with it? There are 3 points that we want to speak from today. We're going to go into it a little bit, double around all 3 topics. So it's one, remaining chaste until married. Having tasted the forbidden fruit, how do you remain saved? And the third one, coming back to God, but still connected to the boyfriend, the girlfriend. How do you deal with this? So we're just gonna go into it, and I know Nataki, you wanted to share, and I want everybody to dabble and dibble in it, to really share our story. How did we deal with it? How did a friend of ours deal with it? And we really want to see how our experience can help somebody else.
Absolutely. And one thing we want to also point out for our listening audience, the topics, it's centered around carnal behaviors, but by no stretch of the imagination are we saying that those are the only issues that plague believers who are saved. But for all intents and purposes, that is the elephant in the room. That's one of the biggest struggles that we have. For me, like I said, we were talking about some things. We talk amongst ourselves, we talk in groups here. We're just encouraging each other and sharing our stories. And one of the things, especially when I talk about, my issue, as it relates to the topic, is that there's evidence of my path there. I
so
have a child.
Were you saved? In terms of, were you a Christian and then stepped out to have your son?
Thinking I was, but that's a different conversation for a different topic. Thinking I was, and so I in essence, I did taste the forbidden fruit, and if we're going to speak open and honestly, there was pleasure found there, right? But then there came a time when when Ataki had to have that conversation with God and say, listen, young lady, this is what you're going to do, this is the decision you're making. How are you going to remain the integrity of your salvation, right?
There's a forbidden fruit. We're talking
about sex. We're talking about this sex.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
And yes.
Should we say who's single and then who's married?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I mean that will give us some clarity. So Kia is.
I'm engaged, but technically, I guess in the eyes of God, I will be considered single.
Right, because you're not married, so you are single, but you do have a significant other.
Yes.
Desmond is married. I am married.
I'm not engaged. I am single.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Shanice.
No, it's a single.
You single. Yes. So for clarity's sake, so a number of us, 2 are
married. One about to be married, and one single and one single.
Yes. And your
single.
Your experience is different.
Yes.
So yes, we were talking about this forbidden fruit. So you tasted it, you know what it's about.
It's the sex, we're talking about. And what I was saying earlier is coming to that crossroads and saying, you know what, I intend to live for God. I'm taking my salvation seriously. I'm about that life, and I'm talking about the believer's life. And so then I had to look at myself rather, and ask the questions, how am I going to preserve this thing that I am holding so dear, right? And what we were sharing amongst ourselves is that sometimes we have to, apply unorthodox methods to kind of, achieve that goal. And what I was saying, it seems, kind of crazy, but at the time it worked for me. Do not answer, do not answer the call, and the call is would be the gentleman, right?
Yes.
I was saying that at one point in that situation as well, I literally had a post-it I taped to my phone. Don't call him, call her.
Right.
And by her I'm talking about like my
And,
backup.
and as we're getting into the how, right?
Yes, the whole.
So the whole of it was, and we're talking about practical things,
Yes.
right? So you use a post-it on your phone and say, don't call him,
Don't
call her.
Yeah.
And I know you shared an experience where you slept by a friend, not wanting to go home.
Yeah, not wanting to go home, and more than once that happened.
Okay.
Like, so the phone may have ring. You might have had a conversation around 6-7 o'clock. You kind of gauge what that outcome might be. That you might get a ringing of the doorbell, and to avoid that, I'm not going home.
So you know what I'm thinking, and I want perhaps Shanice, and we may come back around to it in different ways, because how long were you saved when all of this was happening? Or because it's I'm treading a line to say that how long were you in the church and the church was not in you? Church,
So,
where are we going with this?
Yeah, Nataki, would you have considered yourself saved, or were
But so that's the thing, was I really saved? You know what you understand what I'm saying? Because and if you guys tune in to the A that New Rochelle, you will see where we're talking about this whole new birth and things of that nature, how it requires some kind of turning, right?
Yes.
And so you're saved, but you're saved, and I'm saying quote unquote you're saved, but you're still indulging in the behaviors that qualifies you sinner, right? You're not walking in the will of God. You're partaking in the forbidden fruit. And I know that, and then from speaking to other sisters in Christ, believers, I know that this struggle was not singular to me. You understand? And I want to make a point of this. I actually have evidence of that situation. Some women don't.
Exactly.
And so they struggle.
Exactly. And when you say evidence, because some are single and and dealing with different things and may have at some point faltered, gotten back to God. There's no evidence. You faltered. You have a child.
I have a child.
So you have the evidence.
I have the evidence.
Walking around with.
Yes.
Some people don't. And Shanice, I want to bring you a little bit into this conversation too. We were talking also about this journey of salvation and being saved, but then having somebody else, not necessarily having sex with them, but still emotionally involved with them.
My take on this is that you can be involved with that person emotionally, but it depends on the situation, the how must I say it? Depending on how much you're depending on that person, what important role does that person really plays in your life, why you want to hang on to that person, you want to hold on to that person, because even though you're emotionally connected to that person, if you decide that you're going to be saved and single, you're going to be, even though you have been down the road with all this forbidden fruit and all that, being in the world, doing the things of the world while you were with that person, the minute you have decided, because you can say, oh, I'm going to church Sunday after Sunday, but the minute that you have decided that I'm going to take a stand, I'm going to go back to God, because sometimes you might be saying, oh, I'm going back to God, but you're going church, you're doing the things that church people is doing, but deep down, are you really saved? You understand? So the minute that you decide that you have to you're going to go in church and take a stand, you have to know make that choice.
Yes.
You have to now make that choice.
I feel like
you have to now make that choice. That is even. I agree with Nataki with having to have friends. Not everybody is strong enough to have friends to really give you advice as to what to do. Having that person you can rely on to, as the Bible said, to flee from the devil, and he will, resist the devil and he will flee from you. But at the end of the day, it all depends on Nataki's story might be different from mine, and your journey upon reaching back to God. You understand? So it all depends on everybody's experience with reaching up back to God. Because when you decide that you're going to take a stand, you have to sever all ties.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter how it hurts. And speaking with Pastor and downstairs, and he was saying, covering that hurt, you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. You have to stop. You have to put, because if Nataki's story is different from mine, because when I came back to God with somebody, and I had to make a decision in myself that this is it, because it was
when you
only
say you come back to God, but you still had
I was a backslider. So when I returned back home, back into the Christian world,
right,
into Christendom,
yes,
I had to firmly make that decision that this is where I'm at based on my experiences coming back to
stick
God.
a pin. I'm going to let you finish your point. I just want to make sure we're clear. So you're saying you backslid.
Yes.
When you went out the church, you got into a relationship.
Yes.
So when you now realize that I must return to God, you return to God, but you never sever the ties with the person.
No.
Okay.
And I have a question
okay.
too, which is maybe a bit controversial, but can you be, so we're talking about being single and saved, can you be truly saved and have all this baggage or still be tied to someone? Do you consider yourself saved?
Does save mean perfection?
We're not perfect. We are not perfect. The thing is, when it must be understood that certain things you have to let go
That's
of.
right.
So, and you follow on to know.
That's right.
And it's a daily walk.
That's
and
right.
nobody is perfect. But when you come to Christ as a single person, you have to make up in your mind that when he calls for a booty call, you have to know now that
which relationship you're gonna pick.
Thank you.
Which
you
relationship
gotta cut the umbilical cord.
That's right.
You understand? There's no way. I'm not one of those who subscribe to being saved, having sexual relationship and everything else outside of marriage, and then you said you are saved. I'm not that person. I'm sure there are other people who subscribe to that. We are here talking in a real way.
That's right.
And we're saying that single and saved, there are many different shades to it.
Yes.
And we want to clarify.
Yes.
Because as Kia said, you are single, but you are new to Christ. What's your take on it?
I feel like it depends, because when I met my fiance, I felt like he was more involved in the Christian life than me. So he could have had that mentality where he could have said, I want someone that's more willing to walk with God, I guess you can say. I had that desire to, build a relationship with Christ, but I think my partner really fostered and nurtured that within me. So my question to Shanice would be, what if your partner at the time, what if he also wanted to walk with God too? Is that something you feel as though you guys could walk together? It would be more difficult because you guys are used to being intimate. You guys are used to doing.
Does he know Christ? And when you say one Christ, is that marriage?
Good question.
Because that's not like a choice then.
Same one.
Can we walk together? If she's purposeful in her intent to say this is my walk, and let's just, for lack of a better word, she's persuading him to come along, and because he knows what he would be missing, he's okay, I'm coming along, but not really. There's no. And
I have a problem if he's coming along for sex.
You understand?
Because if he's coming along for that, he missed the mark.
And even that, then, so you're walking together now, right, to a goal, but you two are still falling together. That is that is also.
Can I answer the
That's
question?
also true.
You see, if you and this person have been together for so long, you know where that person's mind is.
Right.
Yeah.
The minute you decide to go back to church and his reactions, you know exactly where that person. You don't have to dig and search, because if you have been in a relationship, you haven't been talking yesterday.
Right.
You know exactly where the heart of the person is. The minute you decide to go back into church, and based on the conversation that you sit down and have, then you will know exactly what to do. Am I going to choose him over God?
Or what?
You understand what I'm saying?
So one of the whole of being single and saved, it's a case by case, but certainly choice there's choice involved.
It comes the choices.
That you are to be single and saved. It's a choice.
Yes.
That both people have to take, because when my fiance and I first met, I was the one that wanted to be intimate at first, and he was the one that was like, no, let's wait. And I was kind of confused, because I'm like, I thought you were into me, you know, what's going on? And he was the one who was more like saying, you know, I'd rather us wait a little bit longer. And it's not like he forced me into, you know, my walk with Christ. It's just that I felt like growing up, I never really had someone to really guide me. So it was like he basically dropped the tools in front of me, and he let me know it's either we do it like this or no. And I made that choice myself for me to be involved with someone like that. And I had to respect his values and his goals.
So that's we're opening another can of worms.
Because you know, because this thing, right? It has many far-reaching parts.
Yes.
Because I actually had a question too. I wanted based on a question she asked. So two together, man, woman, deciding to walk, and marriage is on the horizon.
Right.
Do they then still, because they're going to get married, do they then still continue down the forbidden fruit path? You know what I mean? And then qualify by saying we're going to get married. I don't, you know, it's just interesting.
That's actually what happened with me, but I would say if you can, just wait. Because, you know, it's going to be sweeter. It's going to be better. I remember one time after my fiance and I was intimate, I started to cry. And he was like, why are you crying? And then I was like, I wish I would have saved myself for you, you know? If you guys can wait until it's finalized, because things can happen.
I love, you see, you are a young convert. You are young to this, just baptized, but I love your honesty. I love, you know, the conversation, because it's easy for us to get to the end before we get to the process. It's easy for us to get to the end and say, wait, save yourself, of course. But then, what the beginning, the end. But we want to really get into the process, the journey, because we want to help somebody who may be in the process and feeling like something is wrong with them. We want to say to you out there, nothing is wrong with you. It is a process.
It's a process.
You can make the choice.
You can make the choice.
And be honest with yourself. Be honest.
Honesty. I wish we could, if we could list a couple of things, how to remain single and saved. It
requires, like she said, honesty.
Honesty.
A serious
because
level of
honesty
discipline.
lie to ourselves.
And a
We
serious
keep on
level of
doing this thing
discipline.
until we have no conscience and we take it on like, you know,
we
nothing
keep
is wrong.
lying to ourselves.
I think more than honesty, we just need self-discipline.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
On. This is beautiful.
That's what I was just saying. It requires that serious
with
level of
myself.
discipline.
I honestly do want to wait until we're married, and honestly, I do want to be intimate with you. So I wasn't in denial about my needs sexually, because I
It's
already
biology.
tasted the food. Yeah,
You already tasted the
but
forbidden
it was the
fruit.
self-discipline. It's like
That's
you want to
true.
graduate from school, but you don't want to study. But you
Come
want to get
on.
your master's, you want to do all these things, but you want to put in the work. I think self-discipline for anything is going to be the key.
Let's leave a word with our audience out there. This is good, this is rich, this is beautiful. We're talking about single and saved, and we want to leave a word. How do you do it? Kia, you said
Self-discipline.
so we're gonna self-discipline.
Honesty too.
Honesty.
Yourself.
Make a choice.
Yeah.
Make a choice.
Any additions?
Just don't give up, because you might try it once, you try it twice, you still go down that same path. So
Keep on going. Keep on going. You know, we have the Bible, the standard before us, of holiness before us. We're not trying to be like anybody.
No.
The standard is Christ, not a person. You understand me? So we have the Bible before us.
Yes.
And we know we are to remain chaste. but we need to talk about the process.
Mhm.
Self-discipline, determination.
Get creative in your process.
My
Get
God.
creative
You
in
said
your
block the
process.
number. Put a post-it on
Post
it.
it on
Put
your
a
phone.
post-it on it.
And choose the right friends to get good advice, and because some friends will tell you,
God.
oh, it's okay for you to do it, you know, God understands,
And
you're
pe-
just
and
human,
especially in this
and
time where
all
it's
of
the
that.
norm, like it's everywhere. It's on
Exactly,
TV,
exactly.
it's in songs, it's
So choose the
And,
right.
and even what somebody said that, okay, so now both of you have decided to get married. Do you abstain in the process, or the friends will say, don't abstain?
Because you're going to
No.
marry him. I mean-
If I don't love this one more time.
One more time.
If I don't love this one more. Friends out there, I want you to stay tuned.
We'll
Sisters,
revisit this. We'll revisit this
we-
down
we-
the line.
there's so much to revisit. There's so much to dig up, so much to unearth, so much to be real about. Our intention here in Sisters in Conversation, we want to be real. We want to impact life. We want to impact lives. We want to help somebody with our stories, with our suggestions. It's coming. It's
We're
coming.
unmasking the secrets.
Unmasking. I love it. I love it. I love sisters.
yes.
Well. Stay tuned. We have our the light page. We're gonna go on stream with that. You're gonna see it coming.
The logo.
Sisters, we have the logo out. We have a song coming out. We have so
Am I
much coming
singing?
out. Yeah, who knows? We have so much coming out. Look for that page. Look for Sisters in Conversation. We are coming at you. Hit like.
Let them know
We
if you
chatting.
have questions. Let us
Oh.
Yes, hit us in
Oh,
the comments. Hit us in
If
the
hit
comments.
us up. It's a case by case. How did you remain
Yes.
single?
Share your house. Share your house.
Come on.
Let's chat.
Let's talk.
Yes.
See you then. Bye bye.